As a disclaimer, all the information within today's webinar regarding users or any data or other personal information that you may see is going to be fabricated just for the purpose of today's presentation. Looks like most everybody is logged on, so we're going to get started with the webinar today. So as you can see today, we're going to be going over summer recruitment prep and how that relates to OmegaOne. I know throughout the year we do a lot of different things in OmegaOne, but over the summer it can be really beneficial to helping you get ready for fall recruitment, and we're going to look at that today. I have with me today Amanda Bramley. She's going to be in the question section answering anything while we go through the webinar, and then afterwards we will have Q&A as well, but she'll be doing that throughout. And I'm actually going to turn it over to her, and she's going to give us a little opener about our company at OmegaFi, who is over OmegaOne, and just kind of give a little background information on that.
Thanks, Sarah Beth. OmegaFi hosts and supports OmegaOne. So for more than 30 years, OmegaFi has provided technology solutions to help customers manage their finances, streamline their operations, recruit new members, and communicate with their members. We are based out of Columbus, Georgia, and we securely process more than 1.1 million per day for our clients and have securely processed more than 4 billion since 1992. We're also deeply committed to serving, promoting, and advancing the fraternity and sorority experience. We are passionate about what we do, and it's this passion that has encouraged our clients to trust us to do the heavy lifting so they can focus on their mission and having fun.
Thank you so much, Amanda, for that background information. And I know earlier while you guys were waiting, I asked if anybody wanted to go ahead in the question box and put what chapter they're representing and their name. It looks like we have several of those coming in, so it looks like that is working well. And if you haven't done so already and you want to, we would love to see more of who is with us today. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started looking at our agenda. So today, quickly, we'll look at updating users, just to show, if you haven't already, getting new members from maybe this semester updated to regular users so they're getting all the information that they need. And then we'll look at setting up a calendar event and all the details with that. And then we'll look at files and questions and polls. So where you can store information in OmegaOne, and then where you can pull your members as well. And then we're going to look at communications last with our email, text, and chat features. And then we'll have Q&A. Today, we're going to be going over how this benefits you guys. It's basically OmegaOne for recruitment prep. It's just going to help keep your chapter the most organized as it can be for fall and give you guys a smooth recruitment season by keeping everybody connected with all the information in one place. So you can do that as easy as 1, 2, 3 with your calendar set up, your questions and polls, and emails, text, and chat. Okay, so looking at the start screen for OmegaOne, when you first log in, you'll come to the main screen here, which is going to look similar to like a Facebook wall where you have your news feed and all your notifications for anything that has posted to the timeline here. When looking at updating your users, which we're going to go through first, you're going to go over to the menu on the side to your admin tools, and then we're going to look at manage users. So once you get to the manage user page, depending on your national organization, it may look a little different. For most people, you are probably going to have the option to add users. If you have an integration, that information will automatically pull in, so you may not see that. If not, that means your information is automatically pulling in, but you will still be able to update access levels through here, just not member types or adding members. Now, for most everybody else, you'll have the ability to add any users and update your members. So if for spring semester you guys got any new members, you haven't added them yet, possibly you're waiting till the end of the semester, then you can add them here using the add user or add multiple users, depending on which is going to better benefit you. Or if you added them but you just haven't moved them up to member status, you can do that from this screen. The reason that's important is a lot of times when setting up different events, when you are setting up who can view them, you might exclude new members from that. So you want to make sure they're able to see everything within OmegaOne so they are also able to stay connected. So you can filter that out to just show new members, and you can go ahead and update them to member status and save changes. And then you are good to go. And then if anybody also hasn't already been updated for their different admin levels, if anybody needs to change, you can change that under access levels. So if anybody needs to move up to admin or officer, you can use the same way with the member, use a little drop down and change them accordingly. Okay, so we'll go ahead and go into the calendar, which is also under that admin tool. So throughout summer, if you guys are planning on doing any recruitment prep events, such as like mock recruitment or recruitment workshops, you definitely want to make sure you have them on the calendar for your members to see. On the calendar, we do have like a color setting system that you can do up here. And as you can see, we've added a color for recruitment. So we are going to look at how to add an event and what kind of things you can do with that event to better help you guys out. So we're going to add this event. We'll call it recruitment workshop, and we'll say going over bump groups or whatever your description may be. You can put multiple things in here, or if you want, we can look at later how you can attach files to be posted onto the wall, and you can put an agenda for your event and the file uploads as well if it's going to be a longer agenda. And here's where I was talking about where you can choose who it's visible to. So if you guys don't have new members, you may not want to put that, or for new members coming in the fall, if you don't want them to see past information, you can leave that off. And if any alum are maybe joining for a mock recruitment later, you can make that visible to them. So just choose the audience you're wanting to be able to view this, and then we'll go to date and time. Let's say this is maybe going to be on June 17th, say 12 to 2 maybe. And so like you can see here with the chapter events, they're reoccurring. If this isn't reoccurring, then you wouldn't check that. So this is just a singular event, and then we're going to give it that recruitment color. Here is where you guys can set up check-in types. This is going to be really helpful in terms of taking attendance. Depending on how you're wanting to set this up, we have 3 different types of check-in. So you can do location-based check-in, passcode check-in, and QR check-in. So if you're doing a location-based check-in, you can draw a marker over the area in which you guys are having the event, and then as girls show up on their phone, it will locate them and it'll know they're inside that marker, and they can check in that way. So you can do it that way if you already have a set place, or if you prefer not to do it based off location, you can do a passcode check-in that you can give to members once they show up for the recruitment workshop. And then the other way is your QR code check-in. So if you're wanting everybody to have to, like, you can basically have somebody sitting at the door who will have that QR check-in pulled up, and then as people are entering, they can scan the QR check-in. So depending on how you're wanting to do it, whatever works best for you, depending on size of chapter, you can choose which one you're wanting to do. We're going to go ahead and just leave it as QR check-in. Now, with all of these, you can see they all have the options for the timer and link to an event check-in to points possibilities. So you can set a timer on that. If the event like this one starts at 12, you can set a timer for the first 10 minutes, and then after that, check-in will be closed. And if you want to link it to a points possibility, if that is something that is counting for points, you can. When you go to link that, you'll have to already have that in the system. So if you don't already have a points possibility set up for it, or you're not having that, you can either leave it unchecked or add the points possibility and come back later and update it to have that there. The other thing that is really great about this is we can allow members to submit excuses. So if you are wanting to do that, you'll check this box here, and we'll look at how those can be submitted by members of your chapter, and then how you guys can, as admins, review those and respond to them. And then lastly, you're going to check how you're wanting this to go out. So let's say we want it to go out as an email, but we want a reminder sent as a text message on the day of, let's say like 2 hours before. And then as you can see, these are already pre-checked, so it's going to publish to the OmegaOne wall, and it's going to send a push notification for those who have the app. And now we can see the event here. So for the check-in also, you can see when you click on the event, this is going to be where the admin will find the QR code for check-in or the passcode if that's what you chose. And then later you can look to see your checked-in members. And this is where you can also view excuses. First, we're going to look at where those excuses can be submitted. So if you are a regular user, they're not going to have the admin tool. So they'll go to the communications tab and go to their calendar. From there, they will just go to the event and they can submit an excuse. So for whatever it is, let's say, and you can also have them provide like an attachment or something. Maybe if they got denied a request off work and you're wanting proof of that, they can add that here. Save and add. And then now on the admin side of things, you can look at them like I showed on the calendar itself. You can go to view excuses, or also you can manage excuses here as well. We'll look at them from the calendar. And we can see here that that excuse is in, and then you can approve or deny it. When you go to approve or deny it, you can give a reason for that and then send the reply. When you send the reply, that person will get an email. And then you can see it in your resolved excuses. Okay, next we are going to look at managing files to show how we can keep organized information in that for recruitment. So if you don't already, you can add a folder for recruitment specifically, put any description you want here, or you can add it to a pre-existing. So if you already have a recruitment folder and maybe you're wanting to add a subfolder, you could do a description for this one as Fall 2023. And then check who it's visible to, and you're going to go ahead and add that folder. Okay, and then once you've added the folder, you can add files to that. You can also edit this at any time to change the name. So if you're wanting to add the file, you go here to add file or external link, and then you can choose your file accordingly and upload that here. And then just click upload, and that is attached to this now. Any descriptions you want to put of that. And since we're adding it, so it's not free floating, you're going to do add to a pre-existing folder, yes. And then you can add it to that recruitment folder. If you want it to be password protected, you can add that on there as well for different things if you need those to be password protected. And then again, down here, you will choose how that notification is going to go out. So if you don't want to send an email or text, but you just want it to be published to the wall, you can leave that as well, and then just add that file. This is also, like I said, if your agenda is maybe a little longer and you want to add your agenda items for your recruitment workshops or for mock recruitment, anything like that. If you want to add maybe a file with all the bump groups, whatever is going to be most beneficial for your chapter to look at, you can add them all here and everybody will be able to access them accordingly. Okay, and next we're going to look at managing questions and polls. This is really great for getting input from all of your chapters. So if we're going to create a question or poll, you can have a quick vote, which if you do that, you won't be able to add files. So if you want to, you can leave that here. So for example, if we wanted to do like bid day themes, and then for this, maybe adding files with pictures for examples of each of those, you can upload that, see who it's visible to, and then down here you can choose how you're wanting that answer to go. So if you want people to only be able to select one option, or if you want them to be able to select multiple options, or if you want them to have an open text where they can write whatever they like. So we're just going to go with one answer per person, and we'll just do option 1 and option 2. And then you can make it anonymous or not. And you have a few other options down here. So if you want other people to be able to see what other people have voted, or you can lock the question after so many people have answered it. Another really good one to kind of set a time limit on it, if you are needing to finalize bid day theme by X date in the summer and you want to have this poll done by at least a week before, you can lock the question for a specific date. So like if you want to do July 1st at 2 p.m., you can set that accordingly. And then again, you can choose how that notification is going to go out. And then once that's published, you'll be able to look at the stats for that as well. So right now there's nothing on there, but as answers come in, you can look at the various different statistics with that. Okay, and then lastly, we're going to look at the communication options that we have for keeping in touch and putting out information throughout the summer. So, for example, I know we uploaded the file earlier with the recruitment outfits, but if maybe you wanted to send an announcement with that, you can send an email through your mass communications, which are, again, under the admin tool, manage emails and text. And you can choose who that's going out to. So if you want it to go out to all members, you can also create different groups. So maybe your recruitment committee is busy at work this summer and you want to create a group with those members in that. You can manage groups here and add that messaging group accordingly, and then figure out what members you're wanting in there. So if there's only certain members in there, you can just add them into the group however, and add the messaging group accordingly after you fill out this information. And that can be a group that is available for selection here if you're only wanting to send something to them. So with this, let's say we're wanting to draft something to the members, you can send out an email, which is going to allow for that file attachment. And you can do a send now or send later. So if you're wanting it to go out on a specific date and time, you can basically draft that for it to send then. This is only with the email option though, so you can draft that and then again add a file accordingly. Any information you're wanting to go out, especially longer information, is great for the email option. And then when you're ready to, you would just hit send after you filled everything out. Now, if you are wanting to send a text message, this is a little different. You can still do the various groups, but you're only going to have 140 characters. So this is really great. Maybe on like day of mock recruitment, you have a last minute room change or something like that. You can send out a text message to everybody to notify them that that has moved. Now, this I will say, you want to make sure all your members have their notifications turned on appropriately for them to receive these things. So make sure that they go to their profile here and under their preferences, they have these all checked as yes. Otherwise, you can send out a text, but they may not receive it if they don't have that selected. But that is what the text looks like. And we now have our new chat feature as well. It is on the side here. If you're ever wanting to look for it, you can start a chat with people by typing in their name. You can add members to that chat as well. So if you're wanting that to be a bigger chat, and then you can send any updates or announcements in that as well. This is really great for like I said, if you have like a recruitment committee or a smaller group that you're wanting to send that to, this is really great to add people in and just send information and share it through the chat, whereas these options might be better for mass communication throughout the chapter. And that is pretty much everything we're going to go over today for how OmegaOne can assist you with your recruitment. And we are going to look at any questions we might have now. And up here, we do have the software support email. So if you're experiencing any issues or you have any questions, you can always check out our help center, which is in Omega Recruit. Right here, this red button is the will take you to the help center, so you can search in here for any information that you are trying to find. And if you don't find it, you can email the email that was just up there or submit a request. Either way, it's going to go to that software support. Choose what you're wanting to send, and you can attach screenshots as well if there's something specific going on, and fill out all this information to best help support get you an answer quickly. But like I said, we'll go ahead and look at any questions that we may have come in or had come in during the webinar. I know Amanda has been out there answering those.
Sarah, but we had a question about how to export a file to view excuses. Can you show them where to go to do that?
Yeah, under manage excuses, if you have like all, or I'm assuming they're wanting to look at their resolved excuses, you can export that from this little menu, this little hamburger menu option up here. It says export.
Thank you. And then the other question was, can just the admin see the results for poll questions?
Unless you specify otherwise. So going back to the one that we set up, if we go look back here, this button here, if you check it, everybody can see other responses. Otherwise, if you leave it unchecked, then only the admins and officers, because officers also have access to the questions and polls on the managed side, so only they would be able to see that.
Those were the only questions that came through.
Perfect. Okay. Well, if there are no more questions today, I'm going to go ahead and put up that email one more time. So if anybody wants to jot that down. And again, we have our in-app support as well. But that will kind of conclude what we're going over today. And I thank you all so much for joining us. Have a good one.